All right, everyone. Today we are doing inverse variation applications. So inverse variation applications and the product rule, you are going to be given information and you are going to have something that is unknown. So when you are given information, you are going to be given two x values and two y values. And then the problem will tell you if your unknown is x or y. And if it's in a word problem, it'll just be the one that you're missing. You will know what pieces go together when they say x and y values, or when something is paired with the word when or and in between them. You will then plug those in to the product rule application, which is given right here. You have x1, y1. And remember, when you have two things like that together, they are being multiplied. So it's really saying x1 times y1. And it's set equal to x2 times y2. So you're taking your first pair of numbers and multiplying it, and setting it equal to your second pair of numbers and multiplying it. So if number 1 tells us that y varies inversely as x, and y equals 4 when x equals 7, that when is telling us that those are a pair, we want to find x when y equals 14. So we know that our first x, we're going to say is x1, is 7, and our first y is 4. Those two get multiplied together. So we have x times y from our first pair. And in our second pair, we have x2, which we don't know, so it's just going to be x. But our y2, so our y from our second pair, is 14. So on our second side, we have x2, which is just x, times 14. And then you can do your multiplication. 7 times 4 gives me 28, and that equals 14x. To solve for x, divide both sides by 14, and I get 2 equals x. The next one, they tell us y varies inversely as x, y equals 4 when x equals negative 8. So we know our first pair is negative 8 and 4. So we can take those and multiply them together. We have our x1 and we have our y1. Our second pair, we don't know why, but we know that x equals negative 4. So we have negative 4 and we don't know our y. So that's our x2 and our y2. Do your multiplication. Negative 8 times 4 gives me negative 32. And that's equal to negative 4 times y gives me negative 4y. To solve that, divide both sides by negative 4. And I get 8 equals y. Last one of this type, y varies inversely as x. Y equals negative 5 when x equals 12. So take those, because they're in a pair, and multiply them together, and set them equal to your other pair. So we have x when y equals 15. So we don't know x, but we know that y is 15. So take those and multiply them together. 12 times negative 5 gives me negative 60. That equals x times 15 gives me 15x. Divide both sides by 15, and I get negative 4 equals x. Then you are going to have word problems. So the word problems won't tell you directly if it's x or y. You just need to know what numbers are in pairs together. So as the water temperature increases, the level of water in the river decreases. So as one goes up, the other goes down. That's an inverse variation. When the temperature was 90 degrees Fahrenheit, the water level was 11 feet. So those two numbers are pairs. When it was 90 degrees, it was 11 feet. So take those and multiply them. The next part tells you that the temperature rises to 110 degrees Fahrenheit, but you don't know the level of the water. So we know it's 110 degrees, but we don't know our second part. So you can choose to put X or Y. Then you're doing your multiplication. 90 times 11 gives you 990. 110 times X gives you 110X. Divide, and you get 9 equals X. Remember, word problems need word answers, so this one you need to have a label. So 9, you need to figure out your label. We have two different labels. It could be degrees Fahrenheit, or it could be feet. You should have two of each label. So when we're reading this, we have two of our numbers that have degrees Fahrenheit, but we only have one that has the word feet. So our missing label must be feet. Number 2, or second one of these, when two objects are balanced on a seesaw, their distances from the center are inversely proportional to their weights, which means as one goes up, one goes down. How far should a 105-pound weight be from the center of the seesaw to balance a 63-pound weight sitting 3.5 feet from the center? So the first thing they tell you is 105 feet, but they don't tell you how far it is. They're asking how far it should be, so we're going to put a letter there. The next thing they tell you is a 63-pound weight sits 3.5 feet. So that's a pair. They're going to go together and be multiplied. 105 times X gives you 105X. 63 times 3.5 gives me 220.5. To solve, divide, and I get X equals 2.1. Remember, your answer needs labels if they're word answers or word problems. So we need to look at which label we're missing. We have two that are pounds. We only have one that is feet. So our missing label must be feet. Let us know if you have any questions. This was inverse variation and the product rule.